People who have snapped on a bully at school, what's your story? Ah yes, there was this one girl at our school who wasn't a bully, she was just mean as crap. Me and the mean girl were on and off friends until 7th grade. Then, she just started hating me for God knows what. On kick, she would tell me to kill myself and keep harassing me. Nobody out of the 3 other people in the group chat did anything about it. I finally had enough, and with permission from my parents, I went to school, waited for her until she got comfortable at her table, and then I went up and punched her in the face. She said later on it didn't even hurt, but she was crying when it happened. I hid in the bathrooms for the rest of morning period, then was suspended for 3 days. The girl who was harassing me wasn't in trouble because I couldn't provide screenshots of her saying it in the group chat. When I came back to school, I got so many high fives from other people that thinks she's mean, and they were cool with what I did. Dang kick, that's something I haven't heard or used in a few years. In 5th grade, there was a kid who would relentlessly make fun of me, curse me out, shove kick me, and more things I can't remember. One day, we had to run the mile for pay, and he would speed up to me, get in the lane next to me, and shove or trip me. I headed to my next class, but we had a 10-minute break, with no teachers. I'm sitting in the courtyard of our school, with other kids around, reading. Then, we'll call him Kyle, walks up, goes about his usual spiel of curses and such, and I begin to walk inside, just to go away, but Kyle wasn't done. As I'm walking to the door, Kyle jumps on my back, yelling in my ear, "Puss, F.A." I grabbed his shoulder, and proceeded to roll him off my back, then slam him into the dirt, knocking his breath out, and jumped on top of him, pinning his arms down. This all happened in about 3 seconds. Kyle didn't like that. Originally I was just going to yell at him, but he didn't know when to quit. He tried to kick me, to which I grabbed his ankle and twisted it, telling him to stop. He didn't. He kept kicking. I drew back my arm, and landed a hard punch to his mouth, loosening a tooth, which led to yelling from the kids behind us, who watched the whole time. Kyle began to cry, trying to punch me, to no avail. I swung again, but he moved his head, and my punch didn't hit its intended mark, and hit him at the eye. He screamed. His eye was fine. He tried to knee me. Nope. I swung a final time, landing a solid crack to the bridge of his nose, bloodying it, but not breaking it. Then I felt hands on my shoulders. My friend pulled me off him. A teacher had heard yelling and chanting of fight and other things. I stood up, unscathed, and proceeded to the office to be given 3 days suspension. Kyle is still in butthole. This felt so freaking good to read. I stabbed him in the back of the neck with a pencil. 8th grade, I had been dealing with him whispering insults and ending up with spitballs and snot in my hair. The teacher switched our seating arrangement and I ended up behind him. He called me a stupid bee and I had it. I got him on the back of the neck with my pencil. So, yeah. Honestly, no clue where the courage came from. The bullying did stop. With a freaking pencil. I was about 9 at the time. Kid started kicking my chair from behind and didn't stop when I told him to, so I turned around and told him one last time that if he kicks my chair again I would slap him. He kicked it again and I slapped him to his surprise and followed it up to a few cracks to the nose. Not at school, but my friend neighbor was screaming and I heard her from across the street, so I ran over. We've all always walked in each other's places. We were close, so I opened her door after she was telling her BF to let go of her hair, and he grabbed me by my throat and tossed me out of their house. I got up, grabbed an igloo cooler and threw it through his house window. He came outside and I proceeded to wail on him until he was snoring on the ground. I'm not even 5 feet 3 inches 115 pounds and he's a 6 feet guy. I've never knocked anyone out in my life, but I just snapped and went Incredible Hulk on him. I ended up with a broken hand and he ended up with 3 broken windows and a broken face. He had to take off work for 2 weeks, went blind in his eye for a month, and the whites of his eye were red for at least a month or 2. It has been a year and my knuckle still has problems, and his eye still looks black. I chased him up in the forest with his gang chasing me. He hit a dead end, and I punched him all I could in the face and dragged him back to the school. He stopped bullying me. Aragorn. The early years. I was approached by 3 dudes I've never met in my life when I was 12 who then proceeded to bully me. One who looked like a dang near carbon copy of Dudley Dursley, movie version, and 2 skinny minions. I was 70 pounds soaking wet and a tiny girl child, so Dursley smacked the frog I just caught out of my hands and squeezed it in front of me until its size began to swell, the other 2 jeering in the background. Sucks for him though. I spent most of my childhood stomping through creeks, lifting up fallen tree logs bigger than Emmy like it's woodland CrossFit. I could pick up sewer covers by that age barehanded. I punched him in the nose so hard I heard the crack. Dursley and his cronies went all jaw dropped before the dickhead threw the frog at my face for retaliation. It hit, but I caught it as it bounced off and booked. Never saw those shoots again. TLDR. Found myself amidst a year novel with classic year novel bullies. In 6th grade, fricking Tony and Brandon were talking about keeping the Men in Black VHS I let Brandon borrow before the teacher got to class. Brandon went to the bathroom, so I told Tony I want my goddamn Men in Black tape back. Tony told me to do something about it, so I fricking sucker punched him in the face. Tony tried to get up from those table chair desks we had and I fricking blasted him again, and few more times. Frick you Tony, I want my goddamn Men in Black VHS back, you son of a b. And frick you Brandon, my mom says I can't let anyone borrow VHS tapes anymore. My story is quite anticlimactic, but anyway, I was standing in line to the cafeteria in school. I was probably 14 or so. My long-term bully cuts before me in line, and when I tap him on the shoulder and tell him to cut it off, he turns and starts complaining to the guy behind me, like it was him that said something, instead of me. Bully just pretended that I wasn't there, so I kicked him on the leg. The fun part is that bully had the guts to whine about it to the vice principal, who just passed by. Vice principal knew how bully treated me, and said, "You only have yourself to blame, considering how mean you've been to her." When I got home and told my parents about it, I got praised for standing up for myself. I was a T in my senior year of high school. There was this kid who was a super douche to everyone, but specifically this kid who I believe was on the spectrum. One day we had a sub and he walked out of the room for like 5 minutes. The bully took this opportunity to be extra mean to this other kid, who also on that day wasn't having it. They started to get in each other's face and name call, so me being an ignorant teenager pulled out my phone so I could record the fight. But then I kinda thought, dang, this kid is about to get his butt beat, and I snapped myself. I pretty much told the bully to pee off and he was being a dong for no reason. So the bully gets in my face and asks me what am I going to do about it. Boom. I start swinging. Happened so fast I dr much. I just remember a bunch of kids yelling at me to stop, so I sat down and was freaking livid. There was this cholo gangbanger in that class who pretty much never did any work or talk to anyone, but he looked at me and started tapping his face. I tapped mine face and there was blood on it. I go to the bathroom to clean up and bully guys in there cleaning a cut I gave him. He puffed up and said let's finish this, so I told him it was already finished and we were cool as long as he didn't frick with that kid anymore. We shook hands and walked back to class. Obviously we both get pulled into the office shortly after. I was told our school had a zero fight policy and I would be suspended. Though, after speaking to the kid who would get bullied a lot, I got off without any trouble and the other kid ended up getting expelled. The bullied kid ended writing me this cool note that my mom still has and basically saying thanks and it was cool I could take a punch. TLDR. Got into a fight protecting a bullied kid and didn't get in trouble. Sorry for spelling and grammar mistakes. I was getting bullied by a child. I was so angry. When he was beating me up, a teacher came and tried to stop him. In that mess I slapped my teacher's butt and told him the kid who was bullying me did it. He got detention for all year. I guess 4 hours after school. That's a power move. One bully was whispering insults at me for about 5 minutes. I tried to ignore him, but at one point, I yelled shut up. The teacher ended up getting mad at me for saying that. DX. You should have told the teacher shut up, as well. There was a girl who always called me dumb or stupid, for really no reason, from elementary school all the way to high school, until one day, I finally told her that if she had nothing nice to say then don't say anything at all. She was quiet after that and stopped doing it. Years later now, I think she maybe liked me in some weird way. I think she probably liked you and had a poor way of expressing it. I'm not really sure why so many kids do that. True story, not embellished. 7th grade. I had friends, but I was the chubby Tolkien friend that got picked on by the group. A combination of being picked on and hormones, I started suffering extreme depression. One day in math class, one of my friends was being a dong and I basically told him it's making me depressed and suicidal. The other friend there stuck up for me and was like, dude, if someone says that, you need to stop. Friend 1 said, whatever, I don't care, fatty. I stood up in class, picked up my desk over my freaking head and threw it as hard as I could at him. Slammed his face, knocked him back in his chair. Blood. I was definitely not in control, something else was. Anyways, I ran out of class and away from the school crying my brains out, just having a mental breakdown. Found a field and just sat uncontrollably crying. The school had to call the cops cause I was missing, which they found me. Well, middle schoolers like to run their mouths and the story got more intense every day. No one fricked with me after that. Bullies peak in high school. I was just getting started. I'm picturing you throwing one of those combined desk chair things and not just a normal desk. For some reason it seems more terrifying and impressive. This isn't super big or crazy, but here it is. In 6th grade we had this new kid who everyone hated. He was incredibly rude, annoying, and mean to everyone. One day we were coming into the classroom from lunch and he was standing behind the door hitting everyone with it as they walked in. As I walked in, he hit me with the door. It hurt. He hit my heart directly in the tip of my elbow. So I pushed the door back as fast and as hard as I could. It hit him in the head. He cried. And we both got sent to the principal and given 1 day of ISS. My bully caught us, me and twin sister, walking home from the pool. My mother's idiotic theory about bullies was that you needed to communicate with them and find out what you did wrong and then apologize. Then everything will be fixed. Pro tip: it will not. So she informed me that her problem with me was that I was ugly and she hated my stupid face and wanted to smash it, and then she did so, with her padlock rolled in a towel. Awesome. Mom was briefly puzzled but insisted I needed to question her further and find out what I had really done to her. Thank frick for my stepdad, because he snuck into my room and said, "I'll deny it if you tell your mother I said this," but beat her butt. After all, violence is never the answer. Pro tip: yes, sometimes it is. Couple of days later, sister and I are mailing a letter and here she comes again. She was kicking me, calling me a little PB, ugly and stupid. And I guess I just decided to try dad's way. By the end I had her by the hair, swinging her in a huge ox so she couldn't get at me, and she was bleeding and bruised and begging me to stop. I said I would on the condition that she never freaking look, speak or touch me ever again. She agreed. Then I ran home wailing because I knew my mom was gonna be so mad at me. Even lost a shoe. LOL. Luckily again dad was home. Took him about an hour to figure out I had won the fight. I still remember the incredulous roar of, "Wait, what the frick? You won? Then WTF are you crying about?" And then he found out that the whole time we were fighting, my sister had gone and sat on a fence and watched. And he lost it. Apparently old school fight rules say that if it's your sibling, you get the frick in there. Mum was fluttering about in the background yammering on about how disappointed she was. Violence is never the answer. Blah blah blah, and by that point I got to see stepdad put his parenting foot down. I would not be punished for finally dealing with a bully. Mum would shut the frick up with her hippie nonsense. Twin sister would spend the rest of the night in her room thinking about how fricked up it was she sat on a fence and watched. LOL. Your stepdad is awesome. I wasn't the victim, but in middle school I was grade 8. On the bus this boy would grab this new girl's private areas when she walked by. I could tell it made her visibly upset, and despite her asking him a few times, he refused to stop. One day it's time to go home, and that morning without fail he had grabbed her. So by the afternoon I am a very calm person, almost comatose, had been thinking about it all day. I was pretty mad. I get on the bus, see a seat beside the bully is free. I sit down next to him. "Hi Hank. How's it going?" he asks. I just punch him once in the chest. Risky move, I know, but again this is not something I've done before, so I was just doing things on the fly. As he's rubbing the spot I punched, I looked at the seat in front of me and said, "If you touch her again, it's only going to get worse for you." We rode in silence. He never grabbed her after that. Geez, you're like a good drug dealer that beats up his clients' tormentors. Wait. When I was in grade school, the principal's son was in my class. He was a smug little jerk and a bully, who obviously never got in trouble. One day at recess I was going down the slide and he grabbed my ponytail, which obviously yanked with my whole weight and hurt. I climbed back up the slide like an enraged demon and punched him in the face. Black eye, bloody nose. The principal called my parents in and told them that wasn't how we should deal with confrontation. My daddy always told me that if I had to fight a bully that the school would punish me but I would not be in trouble at home. And that was true. I wish more kids knew that school was just a bull system and you have to play the game. But none of it really matters when you're an adult except the piece of paper at the end. You should be allowed to stand up for yourself. To bullies and teachers, especially in a small town like mine. The teachers are morons that know less than half the students and have no idea what they're doing, because they're the same rich kid bullies they were when they went to school there 20 years ago. It was back in 6th grade. Some Latino kid kept bullying me over the fact that he thinks everyone from the Philippines is a discount Mexican. Would immediately close my locker every time I open it, waste my lunch, and dented my trombone a couple of times. One very bad day, when my parents were in the middle of a heated divorce argument, I snapped, suplex the tard into my English teacher's classroom door, then wedged his arms in between the door, opening it and shutting it until my English teacher had to pry me off the door. He sent immediately to the office, and we were both suspended for a week with 3 weeks worth of Saturday school to make up for lessons I have missed. Every time he saw me after that incident, he'd turn tail and run like he shat his pants in the spot. Boy, have I waited for this opportunity. So I was in 6th grade and this kid kept harassing me about every aspect of myself. Skin, country, religion, etc. He was part of the popular kids. I had my little friend group. This school I was at made you bring your own snack for snack time, or suffer the consequences of spicy foods. Plastic bags were a popular choice of carrying. One day I decided to use a paper bag to bring my snack. I had a French class where I was sitting next to my friends. I decided to leave class on this rainy day and consume my snack. Since there weren't any garbage dumps around, I placed my residue in the paper bag. When I returned to class I found that kid in my spot refusing to stand as he was next to his friends. His punching bags. A few aggressive words from him and he, out of nowhere, makes me an offer. My lunch for his seat. He thought my wet bag of junk was a greasy bag of goodness. The good child I was about to say, hey, this isn't a lunch, it's my garbage, but instead I handed the bag of junk to him. He sprinted out of class as all my colleagues roared, I'm not the one to give up food. I sat down grinning as K heard the words, let's see what I got here. What the FCK? He ran back in and threw the bag to the floor. Everyone laughed as they realized what had transpired. That was the moment I earned most people's respect in that school. Never again was I bullied. I slammed his head onto the ground and broke his nose and 2 teeth. Got suspended. Either way he only looked at me because I drank a water instead of a juice. Hydra Hermes. I had a bully once when I was at primary school. One day he came with glasses. He insulted me and I snapped, breaking them. 4 years later at 6th grade, don't know the American equivalent, the same crap happened again. I snapped again, and I insulted him. I went to the counselor and had a talk with the director. She said what I did was racist, despite she knowing what he had done to me these past years. Apparently every class had a token gay guy, and everyone in my 3rd grade decided it was me. The girls would say mean things to me and tell people to exclude me of things. They would invite me to their birthday parties but not allowed me to take turns using their toys or rollerblades, etc. One day the queen bee of the girls made fun of me and I told her to stop again and again, but she just kept going harder. I snapped and started clawing at her face with my nails, pulling her hair, pretty much how girls fought. While crying I told you to stop, why didn't you? The other girls had to come in to break the fight. The queen bee tried to keep her composure and said, you know, I only used my words, never physical. And those nails? That's girl fight, dude. But she stopped harassing me afterwards. Her posse also stopped calling me gay. Some still harassed me on other things occasionally, but that's a story for another time. TFW, you show everyone you aren't gay by fighting like a girl. I had been bullied horribly since the 7th grade. I shot up to 6 feet 2 inches over the summer between 6th and 7th grade, and it didn't help that I was female. I remained the tallest in my class until senior year. Anyway, junior year in high school, I had a boy tell me, in front of an entire class, that I was the ugliest thing he had ever seen in his entire life. I slapped him so hard across the face that I left my handprint on his cheek. It hurt like heck in more ways than one, but slapping him also felt damned good. I was around 10 years old. I go to a school from K-12 grade. A 7th grader was trying to steal some money to buy candy from a 4th grader by taking his Pokemon cards hostage. He had a lighter and was about to light them on fire in front of his eyes. These were ultra rare card, I'm talking $200 plus. He started crying and eventually gave him his money. As soon as he was about to light the cards anyways, I snapped and ran at this kid. I was a pretty big kid, 5 feet 5 at 10. He tried to fight back cause I was only in 5th grade. I tackled him to the ground and punched him right in the face. Broke his nose. I gave the cards and the money back to the 4th grader. I was later suspended for 2 weeks for attacking him. The 7th grader said that he was helping the 4th grader get food from the vending machine when I ran at him. Today, he is a jerk living in a trailer house with 3 kids and a bunch of loans. I hate him with a passion. The 4th grader and I are good friends now. This one butthole always bullied my friend. He was a gentle giant the guy and he was being picked on by this little crap. One day he had enough and picked this kid up and freaking threw him a few meters. The short crap got a talking to and my friend got off scot-free. Turns out all the teachers knew about the kid. We had one teacher congratulate him about standing up down to the bully. 1. We were both 13. He was talking crap on me under a photo posted on FB in which I was tagged. He did not know I had FB though, so I involved in the conversation. He ended up with a frick your mother provoking me at a fight, with all the bullies cliches. Next day during the break at school, I found him and punched him and kicked him and punched him several times. Do not imagine Tekken style. Not all of them were accurate. Needless to say, next day everyone was respecting me much more and the bully was avoiding passing next to me, and, if he did, he would have his face down. 2. 4 years after, I was with some friends at the park and some guy was looking for someone to hit. He approached us and started calling names at me for no reason. There were many boys with him. He was aggressive and I was afraid. I saw it coming. At some point, he asked me to say sorry for some petty reason, and right after I said it in a trembling voice, I punched him with my whole heart straight in the teeth. I tried to kick him and he catched my leg, trying to bring me down, but I balanced myself and continued with punches at the back of his head. I saw the others coming and started running. Teaching, if you see it coming, punch first. Moffs deserve it. This bloke was a brute of a kiddo, must have weighed 80 kilos at the age of 10. He'd just use all that strength and force people into doing stuff. Like he'd just grab lunchboxes and stuff. One day, I got tired of his crap and told him that he's just a giant butt brute with no real strength, and challenged him to knock him off without using hands. So at break, I go to him, shoulder butt him a few times and then we realized he had no leg strength for all the weight. Knocked him off his feet, no hands used. Very humbling for him. Extremely funny for the teachers and bystanders who saw this. Strangely, we were on very good terms after this incident. Used to sit together, gossip during break. He even mended his ways later on. I was in high school and we were working on an assignment in class. If I recall, we had to color something in. I wore glasses back then and I was coloring in something and he asked for the colors. I said yeah, 1 second, let me just finish this. Then he proceeded to say, give me the colors now or I'm gonna knock those glasses off your face you 4-eyes freak, or something along those lines. Something snapped in me and I just stood up, said do you wanna take this outside, let's go, me and you right now, outside of the school. He said something under his breath like I don't want to fight you, and I said what was that? You don't wanna fight me? You just said you're gonna knock my glasses off. Well, do it then. I just remember being so angry. The whole class was silent. He stayed quiet and I just sat down and went back to coloring, finished what I had to do, and gave him the crayons. He never talked to me after that. Some background knowledge is, I had been doing martial arts. specifically taekwondo for a while, so I felt pretty confident. It was probably a false confidence lol. But I was a skinny kid with a bowl cut and glasses, and I'm sure I was easy to be picked on. And I did get picked on a lot. That's probably why I snapped. I later found out that he actually had problems at home. That's why he acted like bully. I felt pretty bad after the fact. I learned that. I still kinda feel bad for the guy to this day. Hope he's doing alright. 8th grade. He mistook my lack of fighting back to his insults as weakness. One time he said something and smacked my head, so I beat the crap out of him. Both of us got suspended. I turned into the bully after that and kept harassing him and making his life heck the next couple years. I got suspended a couple more times, once for kicking his butt again when he tried to fight back, and another when I kicked his friend's butt for trying to stand up for him. Not my proudest moments. I did track him down later on Facebook and apologized to him. I had a bully in 6th grade that I snapped on. He was a bully to everyone and never got disciplined by the teachers. One day he was messing around with the baseball backstop at our school and it fell on him, broke his arm, and he ended up with a cast. He made it a habit of hitting people with the cast. One day I told my teacher if he hit me again I was going to do something about it. Well, he hit me and somehow I managed to pull off his cast and throw it on the ground. It seemed to hurt him enough he didn't bully me anymore. I was being harassed at school by many people in year 7. In one class, math, I had a teacher who hated me and didn't care if anything bad happened to me. I don't know why he hated me. In that math class, in my head I was thinking of very bad things people said to me and I started to cry. Some boys luoged, then this boy's friends came from one side of me between tables and I couldn't run out of that class at all. I had a table in front of me by myself and just wanted to get out of there. So I pushed the table up, making it fly forward, nearly hitting 2 girls and an innocent boy. I ran out of the class and surprisingly the boy who started all of this harassment with his friends was right in front of me. I grabbed him by the neck and pinned him to a wall, just staring at him. My mind was just blank. After a while I saw that he was started and frozen in place. I let go and ran while crying. Even to this day people still bring it up. Me and the boy who started it all are something okay now. Once he brought it up and I told him I didn't regret it. He laughed it off, but people still are mad about it. And the same math teacher, when this happened, once let all the boys in that class go into the hall to just beat me up. Now I can say that teacher isn't in my school no more, but I found his private YouTube channel and also found his wife's channel. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.